Clara arrived at the Dawson Ranch just as the wind came sweeping over the plains, carrying winter's bite and the kind of loneliness that settled deep in a person's bones. She stepped off the stagecoach with a small suitcase and a heart still bruised from the life she'd left behind. The ranch looked empty, forgotten by time, and for a moment she wondered if she had made a mistake taking a caretaker job in such a remote place. But then she saw him, Cole Dawson, standing by the barn in a worn coat and hat pulled low. He had the strong, unyielding presence of a man who'd weathered more storms than he could count. "You must be Miss Turner," he said, voice gruff. "I'll show you the chores tomorrow. This is just until Christmas, you understand. And you'll want to leave before then." His tone wasn't rude, just final. Like a warning. Clara nodded, though confusion tugged at her. Few people hired help only to demand they leave before a holiday. But she let it rest. She wasn't here to ask questions. She was here to keep busy, to mend what felt broken inside her, and maybe, if she was lucky, to find a little peace. In the following days, she learned that Cole Dawson was a man made almost entirely of silence. He worked from dawn until dark, spoke only when necessary, and moved through the house as if afraid to disturb memories tucked into every corner. Yet kindness slipped through his edges. He always made sure the animals were fed before himself. He fixed her drafty window without her noticing. He left extra logs by the hearth when the nights turned colder. Clara felt the weight he carried without him ever saying a word. And though he remained distant, she sensed something fragile beneath his stern exterior, like cracked ice over deep water. One stormy night, unable to sleep because the wind screamed against the windows, she found him sitting by the fire, a bottle open beside him and a photograph clutched in his hand. She hesitated in the doorway until he spoke without looking up. "She was my wife." Clara stepped closer, drawn by the tremor in his voice. The picture showed a woman with bright, joyful eyes. "She passed 3 years ago," Cole said. 2 days before Christmas." The words came out flat, but his pain filled the room. "That's why you should go before then. This house, it gets too heavy. I ain't fit for company." Clara sat across from him, the crackle of the fire bridging the grief between them. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Losing someone like that, it changes everything." He finally met her eyes, and for the first time she saw the raw sorrow he tried so hard to hide. "Christmas died with her," he murmured. "I just live around it now." In the days that followed, the storm buried the ranch in deep snow, making it impossible for Clara to leave even if she wanted to. Cole didn't complain. He simply accepted the fate of winter trapping them together. But something between them began to shift. She caught him watching her as she fed the horses, a softness flickering over his face. He helped her in the kitchen, awkwardly shaping biscuit dough with hands more suited for reins than recipes. And sometimes, when evening fell and the world outside fell quiet, they'd share stories, small ones, nothing too personal, but enough to weaken the walls he had built around himself. Clara felt herself growing attached, not just to the ranch, but to the man who lived inside it like a shadow of who he once had been. One afternoon she found a dusty wooden box tucked behind the firewood. Inside were hand-painted ornaments and delicate carved figures, a Christmas set full of memories untouched for years. When Cole saw her holding it, he froze as though struck. "They were hers," he said. "Haven't opened that box since everything changed." Clara gently touched a tiny carved star. "These shouldn't stay hidden," she said softly. "They're part of your love, not your pain." He turned away, jaw tight. "You don't understand." "Maybe I do," she said, her voice steady. "My own life fell apart before I came here. Someone stayed for me when I wanted to run. Maybe it's my turn to stay for someone else." On Christmas Eve, while Cole was tending the horses, Clara quietly set up a small pine tree near the hearth, decorating it with only a few ornaments from the box, simple ones, placed with care. When Cole returned and saw the soft glow of the tree lights reflecting off the hand-carved memories, he stopped in the doorway as though the ground had given way beneath him. His breath trembled, his eyes shone with emotions long buried. "Clara," he whispered. "I shouldn't look at these. It hurts too much." She stepped toward him slowly, as if approaching a wounded animal. "It hurts because you loved her deeply," she said. "But love doesn't disappear. It doesn't punish you for healing." His shoulders shook, and before he could turn away, Clara gently wrapped her arms around him. For the first time in years, he let himself cry, not silently in the dark, but openly, held by someone who understood that grief was not something to escape, only something to walk through with company. Christmas morning arrived quietly, the snow outside glistening under the early sun. Clara found Cole waiting in the kitchen, a small wooden carving in his hands, an unfinished horse, rough but full of care. "I made this years ago," he said, voice calmer, steadier. "Never could bring myself to finish it." He extended it to her. "But maybe, with you here, I could try again." Clara felt warmth swell in her chest. "I'd love that." Cole took a breath, the deepest she had ever seen him take. "I know I asked you to leave before Christmas," he said. "But I'd like you to stay now. As long as you want. This place. I reckon it hasn't felt alive in a long time." Clara smiled, touched by the sincerity in his voice. "Then I'll stay," she said. "Not because I have nowhere else to go, but because this feels like where I'm meant to be." And as they stood together in the quiet glow of Christmas morning, Cole finally understood, love doesn't erase the past, but it can warm even the coldest winter. With Clara by his side, Christmas no longer felt like a wound, it felt like a new beginning.